Welcome back, Nerd Squad. My name is Rory Destroya, and this is Top 10 Nerd. Since she sucked the life out of her first boyfriend, Anne-Marie has been struggling to put a handle on her mutant powers and to better learn to control them. I guess you could say that date was really draining. Because she's such a memorable character, she has had several alternate versions thrown in storylines here and there. So let's take a look at the top 10 alternate versions of Rogue. In the number 10 spot, we have Ultimate Rogue. Marion Carlisle is the Ultimate Universe's version of Rogue. She was raised in a trailer park alongside Juggernaut while her mutant powers were developing. In order to gain an understanding of what was happening to her, she volunteered for Colonel Wraith's Weapon X program. But she was labeled too dangerous and tossed into a prison cell, only to be used for Professor W's own gain, such as taking down the X-Men. Coming in at number 9 is Thogue, which is definitely a name I just made up, but you'll understand it in a second. In the What If Rogue Possessed the Power of Thor story, Rogue possesses the power of Thor. Who would have thought? To elaborate, she accidentally absorbs the Asgardian god's powers permanently, and was unable to cope with the amount of power, killing many of the Avengers and Brotherhood of Mutants. Luckily enough, she wields the hammer and is able to find the strength in herself to live up to the Thor name, and from that, Thogue is born. Next, in number 8, we got Anna-Marie Raven. X-Men Forever's version of Rogue looks pretty familiar, but not because she looks like Rogue. In this story arc, Rogue has given Nightcrawler CPR and thus absorbed his powers, basically switching with him. She gets the tail and the skin while he gets to resemble a normal human for once. But he also got to switch powers with her. Now, although she wasn't digging the Blue Man look, she was excited to try out not sucking the life force out of a lover, namely here, Spider-Man, and she got so close to it too. In the number 7 spot is Runaway. In the Amalgam universe, Marvel's Rogue got to cross over with DC's Gypsy and became Runaway, a name that nods to the fact that Rogue was a runaway herself early in life. Runaway was a member of the Judgment League Avengers before the team split off into the JLX. She later reappeared as a member of the JLX, conveniently in time to take on the villain at the time, Fin Fang Flame. As with her two parent characters, she can absorb others' essences as well as create illusions. Coming in at number 6, we have Millennial Vision's Rogue. Because you guys know I like to have my fun here, I thought I would throw in this version of Rogue. There are quite a few different Rogues in the Millennial Vision story, so the one we're touching on is Rogue from X is Enough. We know that Rogue has had a long-standing relationship with Gambit and occasionally is tempted by Magneto. Well, in this story, for whatever reason, she gets passed around like a joint and has one kid each with Angel, Cyclops, Iceman, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Colossus, and Gambit. X is enough, but 2 men clearly was not. Next up in number 5 is Legacy. In Age of X, Rogue went by the name of Legacy. She was raised by Mystique and Destiny in this continuity until they tested positive for the X gene and got arrested, leaving her on the streets. She discovers her powers to absorb the memories of mutants and uses them in her duties to Fortress X later on, to absorb the memories of mutants who die in battle, creating a memory bank within herself to maintain their legacy. This also earns her the nickname the Reaper. Up next in number 4 is Anne-Marie Rankin. This version of Rogue exists in the Marvel Noir storyline as one of Professor X's most talented students. She had a gift for copying others' personalities and taking on their likeness, and this was extensively studied by Professor X. At one point, Jean Grey's body washes up on shore dead, and there is an investigation to find out what happened to her. Spoiler alert if you want to read Noir. But it turns out the body wasn't Jean at all, but rather Anne-Marie. Rogue was dead basically the whole series. In the number 3 spot, we have Exiles Rogue. Anna Raven from the Exiles arc was raised in a wealthy and sophisticated environment, but that didn't deter her from becoming an elaborate thief, and eventually joining the Exiles herself for a bit. This Rogue still has her absorptive abilities, but only in her hands, so the rest of her body can be touched without ill effect. Something that is demonstrated when she is given CPR by a stranger named Remy, but you probably know him better as Gambit. Coming in at number 2 is The End Rogue. Rogue from X-Men The End finally got to accomplish what she's been trying so hard to do. She's gained complete control over her powers. Because of this, she was able to start a family with Gambit that includes 2 kids named Olivier and Rebecca. It seems like the ideal future for these 2 X-Men, but of course, as is often the case with comics, the peace would be shattered thanks to Mr. Sinister. And finally, in the number 1 spot, we've got Age of Apocalypse Rogue. As a child, Rogue is brought to Magneto, who is in charge of the X-Men, to learn the ways of her powers. Along the way, she grew close to her teammate Gambit, but also spent a lot of time with Magneto, partly as a promise to Scarlet Witch to look out for him, and partly because of an attraction. She eventually chose Magneto over Gambit, and Magneto was able to let them touch by coating them in an electromagnetic sheath. What can I say, even mutants know the importance of protection. So those were the top 10 alternate versions of Rogue. Let me know in the comment section down below who you want alternate versions of next. My name is Rory Destroya, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another nerdy list.